What's up, guys? It's Matt, and welcome back to the NFL season, dude. I was just minding my own business, checking my own phone, and there's a Hall of Fame game in like 2 days. We are actually back in the NFL season. So with that, I had to spruce up my NFL predictions for you guys, and I mean, it was a pretty late prediction. I went game by game. Tried my best to see the predictions. I love this season as well. And I will not lie, some of the records are kind of crazy, but just focus on the division alignment for sure. You know, like who's in fourth place, who's in first place. It is all in order. We're going by division. So hopefully that's okay with you guys. I'm just so excited to be back for the NFL season. I've been lacking in NFL content this offseason as well. But, you know, we're in the middle of a Let's Play. So, it's honestly chaos. And I cannot believe that we're already back. So, I give to you guys NFL predictions. Shroud might join mid-video. And he hasn't seen my predictions yet. No one has. So, here we go. Let's go, man. I'm so ready. Next slide. We got the New Orleans Saints finishing for this is like fourth place in the division for like one of the first times in like I want to say 20 years. The Saints have never been this bad. They just got a rookie quarterback. You got Chris Olave. Everyone else is like, this is kind of what I've been saying like all of last season. They somehow started 2-0. And just got a feel for the game quicker than anybody. Then everyone else caught up to them. They scored like 50 points in the first two games, and we're like, holy shit! Oh my god, Derek Carr MVP season. And then they went completely downhill from there, only winning like I want to say like 3 games after that, maybe even less. The team they started out so good, and they just became a mess. And it's really what I thought was going to happen last season. Except they just don't win those 2 games. So I got 3-14 and ultimately maybe the worst team in the league next season. I mean, they just, like I said, rookie quarterback, defense is a bunch of people ready to go to a retirement home. I like Chris Olave, but that is just not going to be enough in especially a division where teams are starting to rise and they're falling. They're falling off a cliff. So, next team here. The Panthers, the Carolina Panthers. It's just not their time yet, but they just keep improving every season. Bryce Young is going to be a Carolina Reaper for years to come. He looks like he's finally reaching his potential. I want to see a very consistent season out of him. But ultimately, I think they just don't have that roster to compete with the other 2 teams. Bryce Young's in his 3rd year compared to, a second year and just a straight-up veteran who always wins the division. So we'll see from there. But I do like where this team is headed. That's why I have them winning way more games than last season. Maybe not way more, but just more to keep having potential, keep building off that team, adding to your roster, and this team will be very dangerous in years to come. 7-10 is where I got them. That's just a good foundation after 3 years. It's hard to win in the NFL. It's hard to improve like that, but this team just slowly keeps improving. And yeah, I can't wait to see what the Panthers have, especially this season. Guys, take my records with a grain of salt. Take even my division placements with a grain of salt. Like, anything could happen this year. All right, I don't want to offend anyone with these predictions. It's just what I think is going to happen. It's all cope at the end of the year. It's all cope. So, but I wanted to also be a little realistic and grounded as possible. So, just a little reminder there. So we got 7-10 for the Panthers. Moving on to second place, the Falcons in the NFC South. I got them at 8-9. They're just not quite there yet. They had Kirk Cousins for half of the season. They won games. I think Michael Penix is going to have that same kind of, I don't want to say sophomore slump because we didn't even see much of him last season, but it's going to be a learning curve, I'd say, for half of the season since he wasn't there. He's going to win some, he's going to lose some, and I think they're just going to end up with a really similar record from last season. But ultimately fall short of the division lead. I like Michael Penix. I think he is better than Desmond Ridder and Kirk Cousins. Ultimately, he will be. There was some good stuff out of him in the last 5 games of the season. So excited to build off that. Kyle Pitts maybe can actually be played this year. Jonnu Smith. Was Jonnu Smith from the Falcons? God. Drake London, I liked his production. So they have pieces on the offense to hang with people. Is Darnell Mooney still there? I want to say so. The offseason when it comes to wide receivers too is really, they're really hard to keep track of. It's really those blockbuster trades you remember most of the time. So, but I do like Darnell Mooney last year as well as Drake London. Kyle Pitts maybe can get some damn production from Michael Penix. Talk about the defense. They still got Jesse Bates. So I think there's no way. Well, they could switch with the Panthers. I think if I'm a betting man, I'm staying away from Falcons and Panthers this year. Because they could switch in division placement. But this is where I got the Falcons this year. 8-9. I think that's pretty decent. And I got the Bucks. They just can't. They don't lose the NFC South. You cannot bet on. You could always kind of bet on them winning. You can't bet on them to lose it. Baker Mayfield has proven to be him. What's his name? Mike Evans has proved to be him. Chris Godwin, they signed him as well. They got a deal done. So they're both here to stay. And with that trio, I mean, the sky's the limit. Cade Otton I like as well. I call him Cotton. Dude, he's the team. It's a very complete offense there in the Bay, the Florida Bay area. That's a solid team. Their defense has always been solid with Vita Vea, of course. I mean, the team can do no wrong. But again, they're a complete team. They're just not always like a great team. You cannot put them with the greats, but you can always trust in them winning the division. Unless bad things happen this year, I think they'll win it again. They just got too much veteran presence on that team that's not headed to a retirement home. So ultimately, I think Tampa Bay wins the NFC South and they get a ticket to the NFL playoffs. The only team in the AFC South, of course, that makes the playoffs. Now, moving on to this next division, you got the NFC West, and it's going to be, the records are going to be crazy because every team, I think, is good. Every team, I think, could wind up anywhere placement in that division. So here you go. This might shock you guys. I got the 49ers at 9-8 at 4th place. This team is just starting to fall off. You got, I think, Hufanga is on a new team now. Obviously, the trade with Deebo Samuel to the Commanders is going to be crazy. So, that's already some key pieces gone for the 49ers. Brandon Ayuk is just a little bit of drama there. I'm sorry if I sound like fucking Morty from Rick and Morty today. But, let me take a drink real quick. So they lost some key pieces in their Avengers roster. They're injury prone. A lot of injuries last season. You don't know how well those people are going to perform. I think Dre Greenlaw also left. A lot of people left, man. So I just don't know how that's going to translate to another team. Didn't Ward also leave? Maybe wasn't this season, but last season before that. So, key pieces for 49ers. Just keep me from thinking they're going to do something in a division where every team got better. Every single team did something this offseason. Starting with the Arizona Cardinals at 10-7. They make the playoffs, actually, at the 7 seed. So we'll see what they're going to do in the playoffs if they get there. But they got Kyler Murray, of course. Their team is starting to improve with Marvin Harrison. Didn't have a crazy season, but was a reason they had so many wins last year that people didn't think was going to happen. Like, I had them at 7-10 last season, and I think they finished like either 7-10 or 8-9. And that was like a generous record for me to give them. A lot of people thought they'd be worse. They were a pretty surprise team of the season. I think they'll build upon that and go 10-7. I think their defense got a little better. It's obviously not that. It's not crazy good, but they have pieces there. They were decent last year. Obviously, it wasn't a defense you thought was going to break down like my team did. But this is some good stepping stones. They're starting to get better. I want to say bright future, but we got to see what Kyler Murray can do at his fullest. And, just a pretty feisty team right there. But a team that could be feisty next year is the Seattle Seahawks with Sam Darnold. Now with Cooper Kupp. They got rid of DK Metcalf, but they traded him with Cooper Kupp. They've always been a playoff fringe team. It's just, can they get that? Can they go that extra mile? Get like 1 or 2 more games of the season? Bro, we got the Cardinals at 10-7. 49ers at 9-8. This team's 11-6. All these teams could go positive. No joke. Is it going to happen? Probably not, but these are all good teams. I had to showcase that they were all good teams. And, I just love their offense. Sam Darnold has to perform kind of like he did with the Vikings. Can he do that? We'll find out with his new team. But their defense has always been nice. Jake Bobo, of course. I think they still got Noah Fant. Could be wrong. They got Diggs. They got Witherspoon. Not a known Diggs, but they got the Diggs. I think it's Quandre Diggs, right? Decent team. They could make a lot of noise. Could be a little bit of a surprise for people in the NFC West. But ultimately, I gotta stop saying that word. But I got the Rams, number 1. So we got 3 teams in the NFC West who make the playoffs. Go figure. But we got the Rams in first place in the NFC West. Depending on if Matthew Stafford can just keep delivering like he did. Eventually he's going to fall off and regress, but we can't predict that this year. So they got Devontae Adams, right? They got a defense I didn't think was going to be that good, but they proved me wrong last year. Like, you saw me predict that they were going to kind of barely miss the playoffs. That was far from the truth. They got, I think, like 10 or 11 wins last season. Maybe 12. Made the playoffs. And I shut my mouth immediately. Okay, this team's not regressing. They didn't regress. Puka Nacua is also him. So, their offense, really good. And I think that's enough to get them this amount of wins. Their defense is, I want to say, like borderline top 10, not even middle of the pack, borderline top 10 defense. Hung in with a lot of teams last year. Even with the Eagles, who won the Super Bowl, they hung in. They almost won that playoff game. So, they were good. And I gotta commend that. I gotta commend it to them. So, I got them winning the division as a lot more consistent of a team than any of these teams. So, That's why I have them winning it. They're just a lot more consistent. Less question marks for the team heading into the season. Like the Cardinals, can they keep doing that? Can the Seahawks keep being like a fringe playoff team, even with Sam Darnold as a new quarterback? You can't count on these things. So therefore, you got to give it to the Rams. Got to give the edge to them. We'll see the next division where I have the Giants. Oh, God. I want to give this team more credit. I really do. I like the Jackson Dart, but that's a new quarterback in the division where all these teams could be very good. Could be very good with their roster. I like the Giants' defense, and it ultimately wins championships. But their offense, they could build off of Malik Neighbors. They could win a lot more games than this. I can't do it. I can't do it with a rookie quarterback, man. I can't do it. I can't count on this team winning a lot more games with an incompetent office who traded Saquon Barkley. Absolutely not. They had Daniel Jones, who I should have given more credit. He tried to win them a lot more games. But they always fall out. They fall short. They had we got to say fluke season at this point where they went like 9-7-1 a few seasons ago. They traded Saquon Barkley. I don't know what they were doing. They got Malik Neighbors. That's a good piece to start off with. Jackson Dart could be good. Their defense with Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. Who's the other guy? I'm thinking Kayvon Thibodeau could be good. Could prove me wrong. But I have to see it for myself. So, we're giving them 3-14. I am sorry, Giants fans. Again. I can't do it. I gotta see them go like 5-12 or 6-11 to give them more credit. But this next record, you guys, I'm gonna get killed in the comments for this. If this video reaches views, I'm gonna get killed. Even with the pieces they collected, I have the Cowboys going 5-12. I know. Even without Dak Prescott, this team was proven to win games with their backups. Right? They hung in with their roster. They didn't do that at all last season. God, what's his name? I'm blanking. Their edge rusher, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons didn't perform that well. Diggs didn't perform that well. Their defense was like Swiss cheese. Correct me if I'm wrong if they had more injuries than they were supposed to. But they just... who'd they lose? It was Dak Prescott, right? And they just didn't perform. They got blown out like week 2 with the Saints. They eventually lost Dak Prescott. And, they hung with some of the teams with bad defenses. But this was the same record they had. Even without, I think Dak Prescott is better. They could be 6-11, 7-10. But this team, even with George Pickens, I don't think it's going to perform that well. I really don't. And this is more like a middle finger also to the front office at Dallas Cowboys. I don't like them. I don't like the front office. They've proven to just let you down again and again. You want to talk about the Bengals offseason? The Cowboys never do anything. They brought in George Pickens. I think that is really good. But ultimately, the last few seasons have been very, very subpar. Of course, you got CeeDee Lamb, who can make plays. Ultimately, I just don't believe in the team and the front office to get the job done. I know they've been like a playoff team every single year, other than last season. But I think that's really the start of a downfall for a team. So, I just don't believe in your team. I don't believe in your front office. And that's why I just have you guys going 5-12. I think this probably might be the boldest thing I have in my predictions, but bear with me. All right, we got the Eagles or the Commanders, and I have the Eagles. Super Bowl teams, you won the Super Bowl. You're happy about it. You make the playoffs again. I mean, are you pissed about winning? Are you pissed about losing this division at this point? I wouldn't be pissed if I go 11-6 and still make the playoffs. You have to understand that there have been no winners in like 25 seasons. No repeat winners in the NFC East. That is not just a coincidence at this point. At some point you gotta put it all down and be like, you know what? I have to see it to believe it that a team can repeat, because it just doesn't happen. It somehow doesn't happen every single year for 25 seasons. So, as good as I don't have to talk about your team that much because I know you're going to be good. But I think that pattern is going to continue. And the Commanders are going to win the division with the pieces they've added. They added what? Deebo Samuel. That's an extra piece. I love their wide receiver core as much as it is. Their defense, really good. Jaden Daniels is him. And we got... It could be a sophomore slump, let's be real, but even the Texans won their division in a sophomore slump with CJ Stroud. So, I just think they're going to get the job done in the NFC East. They'll win it because there's no repeat winners. And if there's a team that I want to bet on to win the division, it's the Commanders. They got it all. They have a complete team. And if it's not the Eagles, it's got to be the Commanders. Literally my only philosophy is that the Commanders and the Eagles are very much in contention with each other, kind of like the Ravens and Bengals are always, every year. But eventually, I got to be like Commanders. No repeat winner, so Commanders win it. That's my philosophy. And it worked last year. I want you guys to know that. It worked last year. So, suck on it. All right, final division for the NFC. It's the NFC North, where I have the rookie quarterback finishing in last, 6-11. You can't pick J.J. McCarthy to do this much his first year. I know the crazy season they had last year went, 13-4, 14-3 with Sam Darnold. Good luck repeating that. It's just not going to happen. Vikings are a great team, great roster, but I do not like rookie quarterbacks. You can tell I don't like rookie quarterbacks. I never have a rookie quarterback. I can never predict it winning 9 games. It's always 8 or less. And that's where I think a quarterback's going to be good when they have a good roster behind them. This is a pretty decent roster, but it's not a great roster. Let's be real. Very fraudulent team. They got their ass kicked in the final week of the season and the playoffs, even with so many wins. So, I can't predict it. Give me 6-11 for the Vikings. I like that for them. Where the rest of the teams improved in very important positions. Oh, God. I'm sorry. This is going to be unedited. I got a drink. It's hot in my house. All right. Next up, got the Chicago Bears at third place. 7-10 again. I just haven't seen any big moves from them. And I like where Caleb Williams was. Like I said, they finished 4-13, 5-12. So I was generous to put them at 7-10 last year. And I think they're just going to finish at the same spot. They remind me of the Panthers, but they're just a little bit ahead with their second-year quarterback. Love their roster. Love what they got going for them. But in the end, doesn't even matter. Give me 7-10. They're going to be a pretty mid team. I think they will finish with a better record than the Vikings. I mean, hell, they could finish with a better record than the Packers. But I got them at third. Let's be Let's be a little more grounded here. Like I said, solid team. And that's what tricked people with the rookie quarterback. Could do a lot more his second year. Or it could be worse. We'll see. But I just didn't see any big moves from them. So, yeah. Gotta have them at 7-10. It seems right for them, right? I think a lot of people are going to predict this for them. This exact record. It's just where they belong. All right. Second place. It's going to be the Green Bay Packers at 8-9. I think I had them at 7-10 last year. They're better than that. Let's be real. Maybe by one game. This team struggled against their division opponents. I think they went 1-5, maybe 0-6 in their division. Just a terrible season from them. Honestly, they still made the playoffs. Good for them. They're a great team. I love their addition, with the draft. Matthew Golden could make a lot of moves. Could make a lot of noise in their division, but I just don't think they're as good as the Detroit Lions. Simple as that. Jordan Love, I don't trust him to get the job done. Of course, lost first round to the Eagles. Made a lot of mistakes that game. Eagles won the fucking Super Bowl, but it's hard. It's hard to pick this team to keep to do good. And as you can see, they don't make the playoffs. They have a playoff plaque next to them. So, a little bit of a down year for the Packers. I see happening. They're not going to be that bad. I'm not a Packers hater, guys. I just don't like. I don't want to say I don't like Jordan Love, but I just don't believe in him as much as some quarterbacks in the conference. So they're gonna. I think this is like the 8 seed. They're gonna barely miss out on the playoffs. It sucks, but that's where I have them. Oh yeah, the 49ers are 9-8. So 9 seed, but again. They're good. They're middle of the pack. I think they're way better than middle of the pack. So 8-9 is where I got them. Especially with Jair Alexander, right? Is it? Yeah, Jair Alexander just headed to the Ravens. So a little bit of a defense. They said they don't need him. We'll see. We'll see about that, Packers. 8-9 is where I got them. But we got to move on to the cream of the crop, the Detroit Lions. They finished 15-2 last year, number 1 seed, but their defense kept crumbling. They were kind of a fraudulent team with they had all offense, no defense, kind of like the Bengals, but they just ultimately win all those games and found themselves at the 1st seed, and they got knocked out because their defense could not hold in the playoffs. You need a defense, or it's just going to be like, outscore them. They couldn't outscore the Commanders. So, I don't blame the Detroit Lions for losing that game. They just lost at the wrong time. And that's what ended their season. They're going to get their defense back. They're going to get Aiden Hutchinson, of course, who could have led the league in sacks if he didn't get injured. Great defense if they didn't get injured. Great offense. This is a team that is going to run away with the NFC North. I'm going to tell you right now. They're going to run away with it. Not going to be 15-2, but 13-4, a little more grounded record. So, and they end up with the 1 seed, I believe. So, good for them. This is the 1 seed in the playoffs, in the conference. And that is where I'm going to have the NFC. Hope you like my predictions. We're going to move on to the AFC right now. All right, you might hear some blowing, and that's just my fan. It's pretty hot in my house right now. Okay. We got the Colts at 4th place in the AFC South. Dude, I have never trusted Anthony Richardson, and it hasn't even been him most of the time to help fix this team like Joe Flacco did last year. Year before that was Gardner Minshew, and he just cannot stay healthy. Now, they got Daniel Jones, who is, known for having some of the worst records in the NFL, like the Giants. But yeah, with Anthony Richardson and, his health being an issue, I don't like this team at all. I know it's, it's crazy to count on, just thinking about the quarterback, but I don't always do that. Michael Pittman had a crazy year. He got injured as well. He's coming off an injury. I think it was in the Steelers game, or was that the year before? I don't remember. They got blown out by the Giants to even miss the playoffs. They could have made the playoffs. It's crazy they were a fringe playoff team last year, and I just don't. Like, they have some of the greatest games against their divisional opponents, and then, like, do nothing against anyone else. This is like the opposite of the Packers, where the Packers just lose all the time in their division. This team is very competitive in the AFC South. They compete with any team in their division, as division games should be. But I don't like anything else on the team. Kwity Paye's cool. I do like Michael Pittman. I'm glad he's having good years. But, he's getting old. He's getting old, man. Anthony Richardson, I don't trust him at all. And I also don't trust Daniel Jones to help that offense. He could, imagine. Like, I feel like the Colts' ceiling this season is like 7-10. But I think they're going to get the bottom of the barrel for 13. I just feel it, especially with the rest of their division now trying to catch up, especially with rookie quarterbacks. So this might be a little bit of an anomaly, but I have the Titans finishing in third at 6-11. It's really not that much better, but I like Cam Moore. I've always liked the Titans team. There's just something missing, whether it's the front office or the some with the quarterback. Like, Will Levis was decent, but he had some of the worst plays I've ever seen in my goddamn life last season. So, as long as you can fix that mess with Cam Ward, I think they'll be pretty okay. They're not going to be a crazy team, but they're going to have something to build on this year. Hopefully. I've always liked their wide receiver core. Tyler Boyd did nothing last year. I need to see more from him. Or he's just probably going to retire. He might retire at the end of the season. We'll see. But, I like the Titans. I like them more. I trust them more than the Colts, to be honest, at this point. Like at this point, at some point, a rookie quarterback will be better than retirement home quarterbacks who are shit with another team, and then you just put them on the Colts, and then they're like mid. I don't know. Eventually, the rookie quarterback's just going to be better than that. The Colts need to find a quarterback, man. Holy shit. But, I got the Titans at 6-11, missing the playoffs, obviously, at third place. Second place, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. Had a crazy bad season last year, but they'll pick it up. I think they fired Doug Peterson, got a new guy, Duval. And, he'll fix the team. He'll make it better. Trevor Lawrence, I still have a little bit of faith in. Like, that season was just really rough. I expect them to have a better season. Maybe a little worse than, their peak. They hit their peak. But nonetheless, a 9-8 season should be fine. I think they were 9-8 when they actually made the playoffs. Something like that. 10-7. So it's not that bad. But they do miss the playoffs. But they have a lot better season than they did. It's hard to pick this team to even make the playoffs after the season they had last year, but I got them scraping the edge for sure. Anything to talk about? I like Cisco on the defense. I like T-Law, like I said, Travis Etienne. I think they just got a new running back actually. But this team should be better. All things considered. Next, we got the Texans, first seed in the South. After CJ Stroud's sophomore slump and they still won the division, they should be better, even better than ever. I think they got some new pieces on the team. I can't remember for sure, but I do remember seeing a nice signing. So, they got a really complete team if they put it all together. CJ Stroud, I think, will be better than last year. Should be. He's got experience. He's got to use it. Of course, they got Nico Collins. Love him. Love Tank Dell. They're coming off injuries, but I count on this team to have way more pieces than they should to, kind of glue it up, patch all that up. Who else do they got? Stephon Diggs still on there? Yeah, so they'll be all right. Their team will be okay. Dalton Schultz, of course. I think Laremy Tunsil's still there, I think. So they got Joe Mixon. They still got pieces. Plenty of pieces. Joe Mixon also proved that he was him last year. So it's a complete offense. Love their offense. Defense, also really good. You got Will Anderson leading that. So, yeah, I like it. I mean, it should run away with the South, to be honest. Unless the Jaguars have a crazy comeback of a year that they did compared to last season. Texans should be in control. I think a lot of people are going to have that. I don't think this is a bold take, guys. All right. Next division, I'm trying to remember. Let's find out for ourselves. AFC East. Now, this could be a bold take, but I don't think Mike Vrabel is going to do enough for the team to put him up over the edge. I love Mike Vrabel. I think it's going to take some time to get that team going. I haven't liked the roster. I love Drake May, but it's until I see it. This is the team next year that everyone says is going to do better, and then they just don't perform as good. It just happens. There's always the team everyone thinks is going to be good or like improve, and they just don't. And this is that team I think is going to happen. They went like I think 4-13, 5-12 maybe last season. They'll have a little bit of a better record, but I just can't trust. I know there's a team you can't trust more in the division, but I got to see this team improve to believe it. I have to. Especially with a quarterback who could have a sophomore slump. Now, speaking of that, to be honest, AFC East, we know who's going to win the division. I think we all know who's going to win it. It's those other three teams we have that could be interchangeable. Anything could happen to them just based off the team they have. And I have the Jets at third. I couldn't do it. It's going to be the same. It's going to be the same order as last year, guys. But Jets I got at 7-10. Aaron Rodgers kind of ruined the team. I think Justin Fields is, at this point, an upgrade. Like, would you rather have a mobile quarterback who's just like below average than like a 40-year-old veteran who can't move in the pocket? He could tear his ACL at any time. It's tough. I think this is an upgrade. I think Justin Fields is an upgrade. I love Sauce Gardner, of course. Quinn and Williams. This team has a very decent roster to compete, maybe for even second place in the division. I feel like I went over the edge. I thought Rodgers still had it in him. He did not, and that was my mistake. Of course, they just signed Garrett Wilson too to a deal. I love this Jets roster. I think they could really make noise if Justin Fields is even average. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put them at 7-10, third place in the division over the Patriots. But, of course, these next two teams could go either way. We got the Dolphins sneaking in a 7 seed. I know, it's crazy. They're at 9-8. They have a decent middle of the season, and then, of course, they fall apart in December. That's nothing new. But it is enough to barely make it. I mean, they've been a fringe playoff team for 3 seasons now. At some point, they're going to get over the edge, just like the Seahawks. And I got it happening right here just based off the other teams' records. I should have pointed this out at the start, but I did do like game by game for all these teams, so all the records do make sense mathematically. So just so everyone knows, it's not like I have every team winning 10 games, Like, that's just not going to happen. All these do add up to the actual season. So keep that in mind. But I got the Dolphins at 9-8. And, of course, we got Tua's health. That's a concern. Tyreek Hill, how much left has he got in him? Jalen Ramsey got traded to the Steelers. So he made a big impact. They got Minka Fitzpatrick back, though. So, again, kind of evens it out. So I like it. I think Mika Fitzpatrick to the Dolphins compared to Jalen Ramsey is a better upgrade the Dolphins got. So it's going to be barely enough to get to the playoffs at 9-8. And yeah, that's all I got. I love Javon Holland. Xavier Howard. Is Xavier Howard still on the team? I have no idea. But yeah, their defense is decent. Decent enough to compete. So see how that goes for them. But of course it's the Bills. I doubted the shit out of this team last season. And I can't believe I did. I can't believe I did so. I thought Josh Allen didn't have it in him to, hang in there without Stephon Diggs. He proved me wrong. He is actually Superman. He deserved the MVP last season. But I really loved to see if Burrow could get it. But in the end, I love that the Bills, I love that the Bills were good. I think they'll stay good, especially with teams where you just have all question marks. I feel like the Patriots, Jets, and Dolphins are all right there next to each other. Could be any one of those are interchangeable, but the Bills will run away with the East if they stay healthy. If Josh Allen, of course, stays healthy, they'll be fine. They'll be just fine. Again, with the Dolphins, you just worry about Tua and how many games he'll actually play in the season. He never plays all of them, so can't count on it. But the Bills, you can always count on it. So, Bills should be just fine. 12-5. Playoffs, of course. So, 2 made the playoffs in the East. Alrighty. Let's move on to the AFC West. Another little bit of bold take. I got a sophomore slump for Bo Nix. I got the Broncos finishing at 7-10. Little bit of a down year, but I just think the rest of the division got better. You're going to hear that a lot in this video, as you probably already have. But I don't want to do this to the Broncos fans. They don't deserve this. They had one of the greatest off seasons too. There's too much noise going on. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a second. So I just think Bo Nix is gonna not have as good of a season as he did last year. That could just me being a hater. I think their receivers are getting kind of old. I forgot who they drafted. I actually forgot who they drafted, but who had a good draft? Try to think. Oh yeah. Oh, I know who had a good draft. You want to know what a good draft? It's perfect transition. The next team. Oh my God, bro! They got Ashton Jeanty. They of course added Brock. They of course had Brock Bowers, who was one of the best. Honestly, the best prospects we've seen in a rookie season for a tight end. That worked wonders. And with a decent quarterback like Geno Smith, who's getting up there in age, but he was decent for the Seahawks. He's just got to have that consistent basis. I feel like every team that Geno Smith touches just ends up 9-8, 10-7. So they'll be right there. I think they'll improve drastically. Love Max Crosby. They have the pieces to absolutely compete in the division. Maybe even get second in the AFC West, dare I say. But it's just slightly going to be enough. For Devontae Adams gone, this team's going to be like the Tennessee Titans, where they were kind of a run-first team. And then they'll get Brock Bowers a little bit of space. I believe they picked up another wide receiver in the offseason. I forgot, though. I just want to touch on Henry Ruggs getting a shorter sentence. Interestingly, I don't know how that's going to play. They're probably not going to sign him again. He might not get signed in the NFL again, even if he gets released. But since he's from the Raiders, I got to touch on that a little bit. Kind of crazy. But yeah, with Pete Carroll on this team now too, this team did nothing but improve this offseason. I really hope they do good. I got them at 9-8, a little bit of a surprise team. We'll see how that goes into next season. But I really like this team. How about you guys? Let me know in the comments your dark horse. I picked the Titans last year, and that was the mistake. But I'm picking the Raiders this year. I really like them as a little bit of a dark horse here. But we got the Chargers making the playoffs once again at 9-8. I think they're a 6 seed. Right above the Dolphins. This team, their record's gonna decrease, but the team's not. They're good. Justin Herbert's a decent quarterback. He's not like a top 5. Obviously, it proved in the playoffs last year against the Texans, where he threw 4 picks. That's more picks than he did as an entire season, regular season. So it's crazy. But he's a decent quarterback. Jim Harbaugh will get him on the right track. O-line is a great enough to win games itself. Defense improved. So I have no doubt in my mind that this team will be just fine. I think they'll make the playoffs again. 10-7, 9-8's where I got them. They could be a great team too, but we'll see. Got to see it with Jim Harbaugh. But, yep, I like them here, and I just cannot dethrone the Chiefs until it happens. They went 15-2 last year, some crazy wish voodoo magic games, some refs giving them games. If we're being completely honest, the refs gave them a lot of games as well. But I got them at 12-5, a little bit decrease of the record again. But they'll win it. They'll win the AFC West. No one cares. No one cares if they have a worse record, even if they win the division or make the playoffs. Nobody cares at the end of the day. As long as they make the playoffs, nobody gives a shit about record. I just think they'll lose more games than they did last year. Kind of crazy prediction, right? But 12-5 is where I got them. And, I think we'll see them in the playoffs again. I really don't want this to be the case, but you just can't predict it until it actually happens. You can't. So, got the Chiefs winning the AFC West again, making the playoffs. So that means 2 teams left to make the playoffs in the AFC North. Let's see where we got. Starting with the 5 QB room roster, the Browns. Holy shit, dude. Deshaun Watson's not even playing this year. Might be the worst trade deal I've ever seen in my life. Maybe in sports history. They've got nothing from Deshaun Watson. He even looked like the worst quarterback last year. I thought they'd be a decent team with Deshaun Watson if he played decent. He did not. He was way more than terrible. It was a blessing that he tore his ACL, honestly. That kind of person, this kind of person who had that many allegations, honestly, shouldn't have got the contract he did and should not be, he shouldn't have been cheered on for to play good. So people are glad he tore his ACL. But, I think the Browns fans also liked it, and, he had it coming. So it's not bad karma to wish that on that kind of a person, in my opinion, my morals. But, enough of that situation. Quarterback room is a mess, and you're as good as your team's quarterback, unless you have a super roster, which the Browns kind of do. But, they started showing some holes in more than just the quarterback last year. Wide receivers couldn't catch shit. Some defenders got absolutely toasted. So, again, you're starting to see holes. Myles Garrett will be good as ever, in my opinion. He should be fine. But this team is not sniffing anywhere near the playoffs, especially when they don't even know who their quarterback's going to be on a week-to-week basis. So we'll see. I just don't like their season, and they're going to have, by record, it looks like another top 5 draft pick. You got to feel for Cleveland Browns fans. I'm sorry, Cleveland Browns fans, you don't deserve this. But your team has just never, ever been good enough to do anything. At least you won a playoff game, right? Dolphins can't say that. Jets can't say that. So, you're ahead of the curb. But it sucks. You're in my team's division. I want to say good things about you, but you're just disappointing every year. Even when you have a good year, you're just disappointing the next. You can't have 2 good seasons if you're a Browns fan, which sucks. I've roasted them enough. But on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who gave away George Pickens, traded with DK Metcalf, which I think is a good move. But God. You gave away Mika Fitzpatrick, who made 90% of your tackles last year. You signed TJ Watt. That's great. It's enough to get you right there in playoff contention. But I think you're going to, I say this every year, dude. I think you're going to have a losing record. You can't have black magic forever. You can't be 10-7 or 9-8 forever. You're going to lose some games and more games that you're not, that you're supposed to win. Jalen Ramsey is a decent trade, but is it going to... I mean, your CBs have been decent enough, but I'm worried about that safety room now. The young guy's got to step up. And we haven't even touched on your quarterback. Aaron fucking Rodgers, man. I mean, he made the Jets look even worse. I really don't know how he's going to make the Steelers look better. Mike Tomlin is always a decent coach, but how good can he be past like 8 wins? I don't know. So I'm afraid of this team. They got a tough schedule too in the AFC North, of course. Not that much tough of a schedule, but some tough teams, which I just don't see them winning. So, first time I really even mentioned schedule. I should mention the Giants. The New York Giants schedule is absolute hell, so that's also why I had them at a terrible record. But, both of those teams, you compare them. They have old heads, like 40-year-olds on the team. It's going to be tough to, fit them into the scheme. That's all I got. I forgot who their backup is, but yeah, it's just... Will Howard for the Ohio State. Again, first year quarterback. I don't... The team has lost its identity. The only identity it has is a winning record, which they can't even hold forever, so I don't know. They're gonna be in the playoff contention, at like week 13. It's always gonna happen, but I don't think they're gonna have a winning record this year. They're gonna be close. It's gonna be 9-8, 8-9. I got 8-9 though. That's what I ended up with. Could have a winning season. Could bite my tongue, but it's scary, man. You're always so mid, so you have that leads to like a bad draft pick. They just like a mid draft pick. It's all mid draft pick, mid record. You make the playoffs and you get blown up by your super teams because you end up with the 7 seed and you're going against a 2 seed who's way better than you. So at some point you have to have a losing season to get some better draft picks so you can actually improve your team. You're just mid all the time. I am roasting the shit out of my division, bro. But, of course, you got 2 more teams, and we got both of them making the playoffs. You got the Ravens at 11-6. They did a lot of things right. They have Derrick Henry. They added Jair Alexander to the secondary. Lamar Jackson, of course. I could have 3 MVPs at this point. He's amazing. We have 2 amazing quarterbacks in this division. It's crazy. I want to give Lamar Jackson his flowers. When he's not injured, he's amazing. Same could be said about the other quarterback in this division that we'll get into. But I have the Ravens at second place. I don't think it's a crazy statement to say that the 2 teams could be interchangeable. I just think the other team has way more offense. And Ravens defense is amazing. They're looking scary. But I just think they're going to lose a little. I just have faith that my team's going to win the division, man. I know it's biased and delusional, but I seriously feel that my team's going to win the division this year. Just because of, Ravens winning like 2 in a row. At some point, the Bengals are going to sprout up. I have the Ravens losing a little more than they're supposed to. I don't know how they're going to. I think they're just going to have some sloppy games. But this is a great team. They know how to play their division opponents. But they could also split with their opponents. They get away with some games in the divisions. In my opinion, they get away with some games. They They play down to their competition in the division. That could be really scary. So they could lose a few more games. I don't want to say any lies about this team, but yeah, they do play very close in their division matches, and that's good football, honestly. But it's kind of scary as a Ravens fan. You just kind of want to run away with those games more. But I have them losing a few more games, and they're probably projected to. This team could have 12, 14 wins. I got 11-6. Tied with the Bengals, who get the edge over them because they win more divisional games. I got the Bengals at 11-6. I love that. First of all, Joe Burrow is amazing. Led the league in touchdowns. They have a triple crown. What more can you say about this offense? A triple crown wide receiver. Signed both of them, by the way. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, both signed. Joe Burrow structured his contract a little bit. Love Chase Brown. He looked a lot better as a running back than Zach Moss, of course, last year. Mike Gesicki has looked like the best tight end they've had in years since C.J. Uzomah, who didn't even have that much production, but was really good in the locker room. I mean, there is nothing more you could say about this team. Trent Irwin, amazing. Chris Evans, good, kind of a good slot. Jermaine Burton's been looking good in practice. So they have all the offensive power, honestly. They nothing to worry about. They have a good kick returner as well. Charlie Jones returned one last year. I'm just going to talk about my team because this is my team, okay? Defense. Horrid last year. One of the worst defenses we've ever seen. Is that going to happen again? Probably not. It could be bad, but it's not going to be as bad as it is last year. Sam Hubbard retired. He played horrible last season, got stiff-armed by Lamar Jackson. Really sad to see him go, but it is for the better of the structure of the team. I want to be honest. Trey Hendrickson, he's holding out. How do you lead the league in sacks and miss the playoffs because your defense was that bad? Like just blew up 40 points a game. Love our cornerback room. Marco Wilson. I think we got rid of Mike Hilton, which is sad. Dax Hill is better. Geno Stone. I don't know if we re-signed Geno Stone. What have I not touched on? Oh, I want to talk real quick about the offseason. I'm going to stop. I'm done having dramatic drama about our team in the offseason. I've seen maybe 3 off seasons in a row where we have just the most unnecessary drama and shit gets done at the end. We worried about Jamar Chase's contract all off season last year, and he ended up playing week 1 in the whole season, and it was a triple crown. And then we're worried about our draft pick Shamar Stewart, and he just got signed. I'm done with this fucking drama in the first week of the offseason that drags all the way to the actual season in the NFL, and everything gets done anyway. We might have a terrible, incompetent front office that doesn't get shit done immediately, but I'm done worrying about drama with this team. I don't know why our team causes so much drama, but at the end, there's nothing to worry about. So I'm just not going to worry about it. I know shit's going to be done at the end of it, the offseason anyway. Trey Hendrickson's going to play for our team probably. And then you just look like a fool in the offseason. So, it's going to get done. Bengals make the playoffs again. They'll win the division. You heard it here first. This could be cope, could be delusion. But our defense is not going to be bad. Our offense is going to light it up in the scoreboard. They're not going to have a shitty start like last season. So that leads to few more games won. 11-6 is where I got them. Let me know your guys' predictions in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Hakuna Matata.